What's up, Taiwan? How's it going? I'm Erika Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. With less than 2 months to go before Taiwan's local elections, candidates in northern cities and counties are combining their efforts. Eric Liu has details.
Hitting the campaign trail together. Candidates from the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, are pooling their efforts for local elections in key northern areas, which include the country's capital and its most populous city. The DPP hopefuls have signed a joint statement on how the neighboring local governments can work together to improve transportation, environmental, and economic ties.
基北北桃有许多的事务是必须要共同处理，人员的流动。 企业的往来其实是密不可分的。
北北基桃先来做一个示范，来做一个我们区域联合治理的机制，上可以跟中央连接在一起，下可以跟地方来做对话。
Candidates from the main opposition Kuomintang, or KMT, are also stumping together in the same region. They're gearing up for a joint policy presentation in November.
所以我会跟所有的北北基桃宜的所有的候选人也好。 相同的理念也好，大家一起努力，让北台湾更好。
请问候选人共同就区域治理以及跨县市的合作，来好好的沟通、密切的讨论。
It's not just the major parties that are consolidating their supporters. Independent and smaller party candidates are also looking to integrate their campaigns.
争取任何可能的支持的力量。那我们不是要去整合，把他们消灭，没有，我们就是希望能够争取，而不是整合。
Taiwanese will head to the polls on November 26th in local elections widely seen as a referendum on the ruling party's domestic policies. The DPP has won the past 2 national elections on a platform of promoting Taiwanese identity and keeping an arm's length from China. But it stumbled at the previous local elections in 2018 when its domestic agenda came to the fore. The results from the key capital region this year will show how far the party has come and will set the stage for 2024's presidential election. Rick E. and Eric Liu for TaiwanPlus.
The United States-Taiwan Defense Industry Conference in Washington, D.C. has wrapped up with plans for further cooperation between the two sides. U.S. defense officials and the Taiwan delegation, led by a vice defense minister, held talks on security in the strait. The two sides discussed building up Taiwan's combat readiness and explored how Washington could step up support. For more, our reporter Jaime Yocon spoke to retired Taiwan Major General Richard Hu.
I think it's very important because of for a very long period of time, Taiwan military have been isolated because of we are not being viewed as a sovereign state. So actually, the connections with foreign military still in a very limited areas, and also a very small number of occasions. So it's very important if we could create that kind of defense conference with the United States, because the United States, for sure, it's a hyperpower, especially in its military strength.
A recent report came out saying that Taiwan's military could face a recruitment problem because the over 18 population is forecast to decline due to the country's low birth rate. What do you think that Taiwan's military should do to handle a possibility of lower troop numbers?
This threat from the other side concerning a potential full-scale invasion by China to reunify Taiwan is looking more likely to happen within the next 2 to 10 years. According to a number of researchers, if Taiwan still wants to maintain its current force level, it would be necessary to extend the duration of military service. Because in 2022, this year, Taiwan recorded its lowest ever birth rate, especially like people considering the most effective resistance for Taiwanese military would be like urban warfare. Urban warfare is depends on military technology, weapon systems.
As Taiwan faces rising military pressure from China, experts are flagging the country's reliance on fuel imports as a potential national security concern. In part 2 of our special series on energy, Powering Taiwan, Rick Larrett asks what Taiwan is doing to make sure it can keep the lights on.
This is Linkou Power Plant on the northwest coast of Taiwan's main island. It produces nearly 5% of the country's power and runs off imported coal, which isn't the only energy source Taiwan imports. Ports like these see the arrival of coal, oil, natural gas and nuclear fuel, supplying Taiwan's 26 power plants and producing more than 90% of the country's fuel. If the country lost access to these sources, it could soon struggle to keep the lights on. It's a scenario now being seriously considered, since neighbouring China has ramped up threats to invade Taiwan and conducted drills that appeared to test their ability to blockade the island. These 6 areas are where China's People's Liberation Army, or PLA, conducted live fire exercises in August. And these are Taiwan's major ports.
I think the first thing is that Taiwan is an island surrounded by the ocean. So look at, ocean. If you blocked by the PLA, by its missile, by its vessels, by its airplanes, that means that the island is really kind of isolated. That's very, very difficult. So like what I say, perhaps we have to preserve as much as we can right before the war starts.
Taiwan's government hopes to spend an unprecedented $19 billion on defense in 2023 as it pursues asymmetric warfare, tactics to deter attacks from a much larger foe.
To ensure the safety of our shipping lanes in wartime, our Sea Navy will dispatch forces to secure state lands or escort vessels in the needed water.
The Economics Ministry says it manages stockpiles of fuel, which could be used in the event of a blockade. Taiwan has enough coal to last 30 days, and natural gas 11 days. Oil stored by state and private companies could last 140 days. But the vulnerability has also given impetus to Taiwan in boosting its green energy, such as solar power plants and wind farms, which currently only supply 6% of its electricity.
军事装备都没有办法阻止太阳升起来，没有办法阻止风吹进台湾，所以我们的再生能源包含太阳光电跟风电，就是说依照这些地球物理条件而产生的电能，事实上就不容易受军事的封锁。
The rising threat from China looms large, but just as Taiwan must rely on its own military to ensure its defense, it may also need to look inward to keep the power going. Andy Xue, Patrick Chen, Peachy Zhuang and Rick Larrett for TaiwanPlus.
Join us on Friday for part 3 of our special series on energy, Powering Taiwan. Louise Watt looks at why some think turning off nuclear power does not bode well for Taiwan's energy or national security. Taitung County is looking to revive its tourism industry after last month's earthquake. A magnitude 6.9 tremor struck the eastern county on September 18th, damaging infrastructure and train lines. Half of Taitung's hotel bookings were canceled. To get visitors back, the county government is now offering daily tourism vouchers of up to $16. The program is set to run through the end of the year.
那这些优惠券呢，通通都是要给客户来入住的时候享用，或者是它可以折抵这些住宿啊，然后餐饮啊等等之类的。
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of newborn pandas in China making their first public appearance. The twins were born on July 22nd. I'm Erika Liu. Take care and see you next time.